Hey, what's up survivors, and welcome back to my Minecraft tutorial. And today we're going to be looking at armor, and we're going to craft some armor, and what we're going to do with that armor is we're going to put it on, and it's going to give us a bit more protection for when we're going out, perhaps at night, or to kill some monsters. So as you can see, it's day again, and for armor, well, at least one grade of armor, the basic grade, we need cows. Because cows drop leather, and leather can be used to craft the armor, so that's what we're going to be looking for today. To swim, by the way, just simply hold the space bar and use your directional keys as explained in episode 1, and you will be fine. You won't come too far a cropper. So yeah, we're going to go and make some armor today. As you can see, we're using the stone sword that I crafted in the last episode. It'll get it over with a little faster. And I'm walking over this way because I know there are some cows over here. Yeah, so we're going to go to the snow biome. And here are some cows. The cows also drop raw steak, which can be extremely useful for food, so we'll have a look at that as well. That one didn't drop any leather, which is a shame. That one dropped 2 pieces of leather. Got a couple more cows here. Got 4 bits of leather. Is there any more cows in the area? Because I've only got 4 bits of leather. That's not a whole lot. I can't see any more. Got a desert here. If we decided we wanted to use a desert for anything, which we will look at later, and we'll look at deserts and what deserts have to offer. But for now, I'm just looking for cows so that I can craft some armor. So yeah, there doesn't appear to be any right around now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the camera off, and I'll go and find some more cows, and I'll hunt down until we have enough pieces of leather so that we can craft a full set of leather armor, because there's quite a bit needed to craft a full set of leather armor. So that's what we're going to do. I'm just going to turn the camera off, so I'll be right back, guys, when I have enough leather. Be right back. Hey, I'm back, and I got enough leather for what we need for making the armor. And something I want to show to you now that we have a good amount of raw beef is with the 1.3 update, you can actually now use wooden tools in furnaces. So you can pop them in there, and they will cook your food for you. So it's a good way of disposing of your tools early in the game if you do not want them anymore, because I don't need them right now. I don't need them because I have stone tools. So yeah, that's that. So now I've collected 30 pieces of leather. So what we're going to do is we're going to craft armor. And armor goes on these slots in the inventory window, which you can open by pressing E. And we have obviously the cap or helmet, tunic or breastplate, pants and booties. So let's get started by making a leather cap. And a leather cap is 5 pieces of leather arranged in this pattern. So the top 3 slots filled, then 1 either side in the middle row, and you leave this upside down T shape here blank, and you'll get a leather cap. Now let's make a leather tunic, which can be done by putting 8 pieces of leather in the crafting grid like so, just leaving the top center missing. And pants, pants are this sort of N shape, I guess, all the way around the outside except the bottom center and the middle, and you will get leather pants. And leather boots are 2 pieces of leather either side with nothing left in the middle. So you kind of get another upside down T shape or a right way up T shape depending on how you craft it. So now we have all of our armor. So to pop the armor on, click on it by opening your inventory and then clicking on it, and then dragging it over to the slot, whichever one it is, and you pop it on, and you can see my little avatar here now has it on. So let's pop all of this on. Now we've got a full set of leather armour, and now you can actually see above my hearts there are like these little shirts, these grey shirts. This indicates how much protection my armour gives. Now leather is the most basic of armour, so it's not going to give the best amount of protection, of course, but it does give us some protection. Yeah, so that's the armour and the little chests, which are little chest plates on your screen, and depending on which material you use, the more shirts will be filled. For example, if you use gold, more would be filled than what is there now, followed by chain, iron, and then eventually, like everything, the best grade of item, diamond. So we will be using diamond armour hopefully eventually, and diamond offers the most protection. So, having discussed all of that, what I want to talk to you a bit about now is damage. Now, as you can see, I've got the armour on, and eventually, when I take damage off different enemies and the environment, my armour will slowly degrade, similar to my tools. And yeah, so they degrade, and eventually they will break, so the protection isn't there anymore. But when you take different forms of damage, your armour gets damaged, and you take some damage into your hearts. So some of your hearts will turn black. They will regenerate after a few seconds if your hunger bar is full, like we discussed in the last episode. But yeah, that's those. You can take many different forms of damage. You can take damage from creepers. You get blown up. They're the little green dudes with a mean looking face if you're using the default texture pack. You can be bitten by a zombie, and zombies make those snarling sounds, and they walk up to you and bite you. You can be shot by a skeleton. Skeletons are one of the most painful enemies because they obviously have a ranged attack. You can also be jumped on by a spider. If those of you who watched my first episode will know, there was a spider in that one. They can jump at you. They're meant to be neutral in daylight, but that one decided it didn't want to like me. Yeah, and they are all the major mobs. There is another mob in the overworld that is hostile, and that is an Enderman. Endermen are fairly rare, you don't see them all too often, but Endermen are neutral unless you look at them. So if I looked at an Enderman using my cursor and looked at it right in the head or right in the body, it will turn hostile, and Endermen can be a very, very lethal enemy because they are the strongest of all the mobs, at least at the moment, at the time of recording. They are the strongest, and you will encounter a lot of Endermen in a dimension called the End, but we won't worry a lot about that yet. But Endermen occasionally appear in packs of up to 5 in the overworld. You might see them in caves as well. Endermen are they're black, and they have purple eyes, and they're fairly tall. They're just a bit taller than the player. So that's what Endermen are. Skeletons, you can tell what a skeleton is. Essentially, it's the one holding a bow that looks like it's dead, essentially. We will look in the next episode at some combat techniques. Now we've got some armour, we will go out into the night and we will look at some combat techniques of how to deal with some of these enemies. The only one we won't look at probably is going to be Endermen. And I don't want to look at Endermen because we're not ready to tackle them yet. If you want to tackle Endermen, you really need iron, maybe even diamond armour, because they are a tough enemy to beat. So yeah, we will look at all the other enemies though. Certainly in the overworld there are more enemies in another dimension known as the Nether, which is like a hell world, and I'll explain a bit more about those and do combat techniques for mobs in the Nether when we actually get to the Nether, which won't be for a while yet. We've got a lot to do in the overworld first. This dimension we're in now is known as the overworld, by the way, or some people like to call it Minecraftia. So yeah, that is everything you will need to know on armour. If you wanted to craft iron armour, say you have a lot of iron, you could use the exact same crafting methods. Just swap out iron ingots, which you will smelt up, which we will talk about soon enough as well. And you can use that to craft iron armour, or indeed the same with gold. Chain you cannot obtain unless you are near an NPC village, and blacksmith villages will sometimes trade those with you. Chain armour. We'll talk about villages when we get there, and lastly, if you find diamond, if you're lucky enough to find diamond this early, then... I see a spider there now. If you see diamond armour, then if you can make diamond armour, you just use diamond instead of the leather, or the iron, or whatever you're using. So that is everything on armour, and we've talked a bit about damage. You will see a bit more about damage. There's a skeleton there as well. We'll talk a bit more about damage in the next episode when we actually go out and fight some monsters. But until then, guys, I hope you found this episode useful. I hope you've enjoyed this episode, of course. And look at my fetching new leather armour. Looks very nice. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, guys. If you have, a like or a subscribe is always appreciated. And I hope to see you next time. And until then, see you later and have a good day.